As Holyrood returns from the Easter recess, the First Minister Humza Yousaf will tomorrow look to reset his government with a statement outlining his key priorities for Scotland. But there's little chance that his words will cut through the crisis that's engulfed the SNP over the party's finances. Today, Mr Yousaf was in Dundee addressing the STUC. After his speech, he spoke to STV's political editor, Colin Mackay.
First Minister, as leader of the SNP, are you worried about the party's finances?
We're on a steady footing. What I'm worried about is that we don't have auditors in place. That's a priority for me, it's a priority for the party to make sure we get those auditors in place and hopefully meet that electoral commission deadline.
You say you're on a steady footing. The suggestions from the weekend are that you're skint.
There's suggestions and rumours in the political bubble. We are on a steady footing, but there's no doubt at all that I want to make sure our finances are on a firm footing as possible.
Now, the party has misled people about the state of its membership. You've lost your auditors. There's a police inquiry into your finances. Would you have expected to know all of that as party leader?
Well, again, I think we could have done more around transparency. There's no getting away from that. The membership number is a great example. We should have been far more upfront and transparent around the membership number. That was a debacle, an own goal.
But as leader, you'd expect to know about all of that?
You would expect to know, I would have imagined, yes, about most of it.
So Nicola Sturgeon should have known about all of that then?
Well, again, that's for Nicola to answer what she knew and did not know, whether it's about...
But you would have expected to know that as party leader now. You would have expected her to know that before.
Again, I know what my expectations are. My expectations of party leaders are to know about issues around membership numbers, around the party's finances. I can't speak for what Nicola knew then.
But you spoke to her just before she announced her resignation. She told us at her resignation press conference that that was the case. Should she have told you about the state of the party that you were potentially in the running to inherit at that stage?
Look, first and foremost, we knew about the police investigation that was ongoing. That was a matter of public record. It would be inappropriate to go into the detail of a police inquiry. But in terms of membership numbers, I think that's a fair point to make. I think that should have been released far earlier than it was. And as I say, the party is on a steady footing. What we don't have is auditors.
You didn't know the auditors had gone?
What we don't have is auditors in place. And yes, it would have been helpful, frankly, to have known that beforehand.
So you wish she had told you some of that?
Well, whether it was her, whether it was Peter Murrow, whether it was anybody else within the party, it would have been helpful, I think, to have known that before. And that's why the NEC has agreed to a review on governance and transparency and financial oversight. Transparency around financial oversight and protection.
So like the membership numbers, was the rest of the information withheld from the party membership, from the party hierarchy, let alone the public?
Oh, look, again, I know and understand completely the reasons why people are asking such questions. I think when the party knew the auditors were letting them go, they were desperately trying to get new auditors in place and didn't feel it was necessary.
6 months on, you still haven't got them, though.
Indeed, and that's a concern.
Not been desperately trying then, have they?
Well, they have been trying, of course, and I know that for...
Is that because other auditors don't want to step in then, if they've been desperately trying?
Well, clearly other auditors have not taken on the SNP, and maybe that's for a range of different reasons.
Is it because you're skint? Is it because the party's financially a basket case?
No, the party is not like that. The party is on a steady footing, having seen the finances of the party. Now, I want to make sure it's on a firmer footing when it comes to its finances, so I'll be doing whatever I can as party leader to ensure that's the case.
So you say on a steady footing, are you in the black or are you in the red?
As I say, and I think was reported in the weekend, our books are very much balanced. Now, any party, when it's, for example, fighting an election, will no doubt spend more money, and there'll be challenges around its cash flow at that particular time. So party finances, we know, can fluctuate month on month, year on year, depending on the election cycle.
Have you spoken to Nicola Sturgeon since you became First Minister?
We spoke a couple of times, as you probably know. For example, when she was in the chamber voting for me as First Minister, we had a very brief conversation, but we haven't spoken in the last couple of weeks.
Did you speak about the mess that she's left your party in?
We haven't spoken about the police investigation, nor indeed about the party or its finances. That would be wholly inappropriate for us to do. Now, Nicola and I will speak at some point, of course we will, in due course, but one thing we won't speak about is the police investigation. That would be wholly inappropriate.
And she's not going to be in Parliament this week. Do you think that's a mistake? Or is she right to stay away?
It's a matter for Nicola. Whether Nicola was in the chamber or she's not in the chamber, tomorrow I've got an important job to do to ensure that I'm really articulating clearly what the priorities are for the government that I lead. So whether Nicola was there or not doesn't make a difference to me.
Will you suspend her from the party?
Absolutely not. There's no reason to be suspending Nicola or for Nicola to resign from the party. The only people suggesting such are, of course, our political opponents, who I'm not surprised are desperate to see her go, given that she's thrashed them in every election over the last 8 elections.
So you're going to talk about your priorities for government tomorrow. Are they any different now to what they were a couple of months ago when you were serving in the government?
Well, again, actually, with new leadership comes the opportunity for a fresh start. Now, of course, as Health Secretary, you can do things within health and social care. As Justice Secretary, you can do things within the justice sector. And what I'm able to do as First Minister, is the new First Ministers, articulate what the priorities will be right across the government. So
what would
yes,
it be then?
we will build
What's
upon
changed
that.
about your priorities then?
Well, we will build upon what has gone in the past, but I look to go beyond that now. As much as I'd love to give STV an exclusive into that, I'm afraid you'll have to wait till tomorrow.
Although you did tell the STUC earlier that you're going to change your approach to the new National Care Service, so is there clearly a reprioritisation there?
Well, actually, what it is doing is not saying that we're not going to do the National Care Service. Of course we will. We're fully committed to that. But we're going to take a little bit more time to engage with the likes of trade unions, our trade union movement, also engage with local government and see if we can find a compromise, particularly around local government staffing. So where we can find a compromise, I'll aim to do that.
How long will that take? How much longer will it take?
So I think we can delay the legislative timetable until we return back from the summer recess. We're talking about a delay of a few months, but I think that's right to take that time to then engage intensively with the trade union movement, with local government, but also those with lived experience too.
And that consultation could change the nature of it, could it?
Well, I think what it could possibly change, where I think the space for compromise is when it comes to local government staff. Local government want those staff involved in social care to be employed locally within a national framework. I think we can find that compromise.
And can we expect a reprioritisation of the deposit return scheme, the marine protection areas?
I'll say more about those issues tomorrow.
What else are you going to say positively tomorrow? These are reprioritisations we're talking about. What are you going to offer tomorrow that's different?
That's a really good question. So again, without giving it all away, I'll hope that I can really speak to the business community who are, I think, vital in helping us in the wellbeing economy. People
Have you ignored them for too long as a party and a government, do you think?
No, I think there's an opportunity to reset the relationship, and that's what business is asking for. So I'll certainly be very positive around that relationship. I think there's more that we can do around anti-poverty as well, and tackling poverty. I think there's more we can do around progressive taxation, for example. I can't set that within budget, but I can certainly give an idea, I hope, an articulation of the vision that I have in these areas.
First Minister, thanks for joining us in Scotland tonight.
Thank you.